Howdy y'all, got the Bulldog on the channel. We got one that's becoming less and less. I mean, we did several of them, but now we're slowing down, but we get them every once in a while. What we got is the old Triton V8, the 2 valve. This is a 4.6. 5.4 is very similar. And customer pulled up to a stop sign and pop, 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 pop. Well, he was expecting that something blew up or something. He shut off, pulled the hood, started it back up. Coil sitting there jumping up and down. Well, he drove to where he was going. He shut it off, and then he hauled it over here. What they do is somebody somewhere leaves the spark plug loose or over tightens the spark plug, one of the two, and it strains the threads. If you tighten it up too much, you can strip the threads. If you don't tighten it up enough, the compression beating on them will wear the threads out until the spark plug blows out of the hole. Helicoiling these things does not work. They have an insert. It is a solid one-piece insert, and I'm going to show you what we do to replace that. We've got a kit here, part number MTN 9200, and we ran out of inserts for this kit. It's got all the stuff you need. You start out by blowing the hole out, and you got this little thing right here. You stick it down in the hole, shoot some air into it, and when it pops this up out of the hole, that means the valves are closed. It's important because you absolutely do not want to get any junk, and you're going to have junk in there. You don't want to have any of that down in the hole on top of the piston where it can blow up and get into a valve. If the valves are shut, then you stick something down in the hole and blow your air, and it'll blow everything up out of the hole. You don't want the engine to move. Preferably, you do this with the piston down. So that's kind of how it works. You put air to it, and it's blowing out the valves wherever it's going. And whenever the valve's shut, it blows the plunger out of the hole. It's a little funky, but it works. And the reason you want the piston down is so when you're using these things here, you don't hit the piston. So they have limiters on them so that they can't drop down in the hole. Well, this one don't, but there was O-rings on it here. And I think when you cut this, they want the piston up, but I don't remember. I just, don't let that fall. This is a guide that drops down inside that well so that everything's perfectly straight. It's got a DVD in here to tell you how to do it, but that's how long we've had this kit. It was back when the internet wasn't a big thing. But you bore out the old threads with this thing here. You cut new threads with this thing here and install this sleeve. Solid one piece, new threads on the outside, existing threads on the inside, and it has its own seat right here too. That's the thing, you gotta have a place for it to seat up against and everything tighten up. What we do is we cut the new threads, blow it all out, and then apply a light film of JB Weld to the outside of this, screw it onto the spark plug, and then tighten it down in a hole. Leave it for 24 hours, let it set up. All right, now you need to prep your area. Get everything out of the way as best as you can. This is number 3, the one that did it, so it's not the worst one, it's just next to the worst one. Here's our old coil. Always replace the coil when this happens, unless you catch it right away, because blowing up through there kind of destroys it, overheats the coil. Usually it breaks it anyway, so there you are. Rotate around the injector plug, gives you a little more room. Remove the old bolt for your coil. Get stuff out of the way. Okay, popped it. I think it's got a valve just a little bit open because it takes some pressure. I'm going to get a Borescope, since we have one, and stick it down in there and look around and just to make sure. Both valves are closed. The piston is down quite a ways. So that's ideal. Now, some of them say to keep the piston up so that the piece won't drop down in there, but put it together, and then you got an O-ring you put on top of this so that it can't fall all the way down. That's how you mitigate that. But you don't want to damage anything by running it too deep and getting into the piston. Now we're going to take this piece and drop it down in the hole. We're going to run this down in that hole. I think I got to do that the other way. Like I say, it's been a while since I've had to do one of these. No, I don't have to do it the other way. It goes in there. This keeps it from going too far. Okay. That's what it looks like down in there. And you take your air ratchet or electric ratchet, whichever, and buzz that till it drops through. Okay, you can put a little bit of down pressure on it, but not too much. Getting it back up out of there might be a little bit of a chore. Pull out your sleeve. Take your tap and put your sleeve down over top of it, and then put your O-ring on there, and that's going to limit it so that it can't fall through. Put it up through, then you take your sleeve, put your tap up through it, put your O-ring on top of that so that it can't fall through down into the cylinder. Set that up in place. Work on that sleeve so that it gets all the way down in there. That way you don't run the risk of getting anything out of line. Now, I choose to cut this by hand. I see most everybody uses a power tool, air tool. to cut those threads. It worries me. So I do it the old way. All right. Now let's take a look at the threads and see what it looks like. Brand new threads, cut all the way down. So it looks like from the top. Now we're gonna blow some air down in that hole and blow all that junk out that's now sitting on top of the piston. And after we do that for a while, then we'll blow it out with carb cleaner or brake clean, whatever. Now I made a deal out of a piece of brake line, 1/4 inch. You want it to be as big as you can get and still leave room around it to get down in the hole, leave room for the debris to get out around it. Get down in that hole so that the wind can swirl around and blow. Oops, sorry. Okay, now we'll get some brake clean spray down in there. This is basically to clean the threads and everything so that it's nice and dry. No oil or nothing like that on it. Take your spark plug, already gapped to 52 to 56 thousandths. Take a little bit of never sees, put on the threads. Screw it in your insert. Yeah, we'll save that for later. Okay, we're going to put a little bit on these threads. And when I say a little bit, after you squeegee it around, you don't want much. You don't want a big glob gooing up out of there. You also just don't want any empty pockets. So you got to take an extra second. Don't work this stuff too much, but you want to make sure that you're getting a good contact pattern all way around it. because there's a lot more there than you might think there is. Okay, I think that looks good. I've got this fancy tool. I'll spin that thing down into the hole. A piece of vacuum line will work too. Now, tighten it like you would a spark plug. I've already put my dielectric grease into the coil and install as normal. It only moves that thing up a freckle, so you're not going to have any problems with the mounting of your coil. Okay. Click. Don't leave that injector twisted out of the way. Put your vacuum hose back down underneath there where it was. And I didn't move anything else out of the way. That was it, so you wouldn't want that leaking. And there you got it, start to finish on one of these thread repairs. Helicoils without the complete top hat and everything on them, they're pretty iffy. There's nothing to hold them from keeping them backing out. They have a deal to stake them down in place. I've never had luck with those. These here, we've never had one fail. Use whatever you want. This is what we use and we like it. So take it for what it's worth. Like, comment, subscribe, hit your little bell notification, share it all around. We'll talk to you later.